Hello everyone. So today, guys, we will start the Ether channel. Okay. The first, guys, we will see why we use Ether channel, and then, guys, we will see the configuration as well as the troubleshooting. Okay. So not only the troubleshooting, guys, I will tell you some of the example which the issue while configuring the Ether channel, which I got in the real scenario. And also like in future, let's say if you adding the new link, okay, in your existing Ether channel, what are the steps? And a few of the things in case your Ether channel goes down, because this is very guys important topic, okay, Ether channel. So definitely guys, if you going for an interview in the switching, they will ask the question about the Ether channel. Okay. The first thing what is Ether? Okay, as you know, Ether channel is basically also known as link aggregation and Cisco port channel. और सर्वर साइड पे गाइस जब आप ईथर चैनल कॉन्फ़िगर करते हो on the server side, guys, this is also known as nick teaming. Okay, then this is also known as channeling. So the first thing is why we use Ether channel. So you see I remember one of the issue we faced, and that issue guys we solve by configuring the Ether channel. Okay, the issue was guys we have the router, and this router has only 1 GB port. Okay, so this link is going to the ISP or maybe your client device, and we found this link is fully utilized. Okay, so this link has capacity 1 GB, and we found link is fully utilized. Okay, then in this case, guys, you have mainly two solution. One solution, guys, we on a router we need a higher bandwidth port. Okay, higher capacity port. So this is the first solution. So in this solution, guys, definitely either this router might be has a blank module. You need to purchase a new module which has 10 GB port. These days, I have seen port are also coming 2 GB, 40 GB, and 100 GB. So in my current organization, I'm replacing the switches, okay, where we have a 100 GB port, okay, 100 GB capacity, okay. This is the first time I have seen. But the point again, this solution, the hardware upgrade solution, okay, this is a costly solution, okay. So either you need a module, or let's say if you don't have a module to insert on this device, maybe you need a new router, okay. So new router which has higher capacity port, okay. And the second solution, guys, in this case, we have Ether. This is guys basically Ether channel is cheaper solution. So let's say on this router, I don't have any higher capacity port, but I have one free port, okay. And we found our current utilization is around 1.2 Gbps. And what can we do here, okay? So the second solution, Ether channel, we can connect this other free port and we can bundle this, okay, through the Ether channel. So this is the second solution. In the second solution, guys, you see, I don't need to purchase any new hardware. Only guys, I'm using this free port, okay. तो ये दोनों मैंने free port को मैं connect करके we will configure in a bundle which is known as Ether channel, okay. And once you configure these two physical port and a bundle, this device basically do the load distribution. तो लोड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन में गाइस क्या है, दोनों लिंक के ऊपर क्या आपका ट्रैफिक होगा, okay, and that means basically we are solving our problem, okay. So let's say your 70% traffic is going via this link and 30% traffic is going over your secondary link, but at the end my problem is solved now, okay. So earlier, guys, we are getting the utilization of 1.2 Gbps, but now as we have a 1 Gbps link, okay. So together we have a 2 Gbps connection now, and through Ether channel, guys, we are distributing the traffic, okay. So only the disadvantage, guys, if you let's say if you going with the solution one, okay, which is upgrading the new devices or new model or new hardware, okay. So only the difference, guys, if you planning going with the solution one. So in the solution one, guys, let's say if we see from A to B, and from A to B, let's say this is my 10 Gbps port, okay? This is also my 10 Gbps port. So from A to B, the speed we will get 10 Gbps, okay? But in EtherChannel, if you see, let's say we have a point A to point B. So we have like these two 1 Gbps port, and we have configured a bundle. And now guys, like we have a 2 Gbps capacity, but point A to point B, the traffic will go via one of this physical link, okay? The actual speed guys, like is case mein kya hai, from A to B, we will get only 1 Gbps from one source to one destination, okay? So this is guys like we generally called flow. When we guys like I'm talking about flow, basically I'm talking about particular one source to one destination, okay? So per flow guys, you will get the speed only 1 Gbps. However, guys, like let's say if we have a multiple source and multiple destination IP, maybe one flow is going via link 1 and the second flow is going via link 2. This is basically EtherChannel do, guys. So EtherChannel basically share your load. At the end, you will see the traffic on a both link. Basically, you are distributing the traffic. But in the first solution, when you upgrading your hardware, this is again like you will get point A to point B. Let's say if you have an end-to-end 10 Gbps capacity, you will get the 10 Gbps speed, okay? So one thing like this is very basic question, okay? So like some people confuse like the network speed always in small b, okay? The Gbps, and the data which we are transferring, they are always in capital B. So I hope like you know what is a small b. Small b is bit, okay? So network speed guys, always we will measure with bit, okay? So like Mbps, megabit per second. Gigabit, again gigabit bit is a bit, okay? The data, like you have 100 GB hard disk. The data guys, like we always measure with the byte, okay? So that's why like you heard like when you like getting any internet connection in your home, and they are saying your internet connection is 100 Mbps, but when you're downloading any movie, you will get the speed around 10 to 12, okay? Again, it also depends on the server, but maximum speed you will get, like say 10 or 12 Mbps. This is the reason guys, like basically like if you multiply by 10 to 12 into 8, because 1 byte is equal to 8 bit, okay? The end result, like you will get like the speed is around 100 Mbps, okay? So this is the point, okay? So EtherChannel basically guys, like we have a multiple link and we will combine them, and we are basically distributing the traffic, okay? So in EtherChannel, like we can make maximum 8 link. So इस केस में like आप 8 लिंक को कंबाइन करके क्या एक लॉजिकल लिंक बना सकते हो, बट ये डिपेंड करता है गाइस, लाइक दीज डेज गाइस, लाइक आपको आप इधर EtherChannel सॉल्यूशन को भी यूज कर सकते हो, और मे बी गाइस लाइक इफ योर बिजनेस इज वेरी क्रिटिकल, ओके, देन यू विल गो विद द सेकंड सॉल्यूशन व्हिच इज डेफिनेटली अ कॉस्टली वन, ओके? इस केस में क्या आप अपने हार्डवेयर को क्या अपग्रेड भी कर सकते हो. So here guys, like we'll see the first the configuration of the EtherChannel, then definitely guys we will mainly focus on the troubleshooting part, okay? The first thing, like in order to configure the EtherChannel, we have a two-way, and we always use guys like in the real world dynamic way, okay? So in the dynamic way, we use a protocol, and in the static way, there is a single command which is mode on. But as I told you guys, like we never use this EtherChannel, static EtherChannel in the real world, okay? So the reason why like we are not using the static EtherChannel, you see like static EtherChannel, they don't have any negotiation, okay? The same thing guys, like if you compare with the static routing and dynamic routing, we always prefer the dynamic routing over the static. The reason why like in dynamic routing, these dynamic routing protocol, they always negotiate, okay? They always like communicate with your neighbor by sending the hello packet. And if neighbor goes down, then they automatically figure out, hey, this neighbor is down. Now we need to figure out the second path. Okay. Similarly, guys, like this dynamic protocol, okay, they will negotiate. And in case somehow your this port, let's say on a switch 2, this port now remove under the ether channel somehow, because you see, like when we're configuring the ether channel, there are some pre-requirement. If that pre-requirement not match, your ether channel will be down. Okay, maybe your one link is down. So in this case, let's say like the basic requirement of ether channel, make sure this port has the same exact configuration. Okay. So let's say somehow like accidentally someone like put the one command which is not matching with this interface configuration, and one side your port went down from the ether channel. Okay. तो इस केस में गाइस लाइक अगर एक साइड आपका ईथर चैनल पोर्ट डाउन हो गया तो इस साइड पे गाइस वो क्या अपने आप ही क्या डाउन हो जाएगा इफ यू रनिंग द डायनामिक ईथर चैनल, और देन गाइस लाइक यू हैव नाउ टू लिंक, देन इस केस में गाइस लाइक एसटीपी करेगा इस पोर्ट को करेगा ब्लॉक कर देगा. So now you have two individual link. Okay, you will see like in the ether channel this will call now I means individual. Okay, and now you have a two link and your STP block one of your link. Okay, but in case of static ether channel, let's say somehow your port removed from the bundle, but switch one, as you're using the static way, they will not figure out. Okay, so in this case like on the switch side, this is your one port, which is your port channel, and this side we have a two port. This is my port channel 1, and this is my physical port. Okay, let's say Ethernet 1 via 2. When we sending the traffic, STP will confuse, and they will also send the traffic back to us. So you have a unidirectional loop. Okay, because in a static ether channel, guys, they are not communicate. Okay, if one side somehow port removed from the bundle, as this side all the configuration is fine, so this was still thinking like, okay, these two port are my in bundle. Okay, so in this case guys, like you will see that unidirectional loop. Okay, that's why guys, like in the real world we never use the static way, we always use a dynamic way. Okay, so in the dynamic, guys, again we have a two protocol, which is PAGP and other is LACP. So PAGP, guys, this is port aggregation protocol. This is Cisco proprietary, and LACP is open standard. Okay. You see, guys, like even as I told you, we have a switches and we have a server, and this server, like let's say the two port going to the switches on the server side, guys, like they will use NIC teaming and they will use the protocol LACP. Similarly, guys, like on the switch side, we need to use this LACP. Okay, in order to configure the ether channel between the switch and the server. Okay. So mainly, guys, like I told you, we use LACP because that is open standard. Okay. So here, guys, like in this topology, I will show you the command first. What is the basic command of ether channel? So here, guys, like we have a two connection from core 1 to core 2. So we'll configure the ether channel first. Then mainly, guys, we will focus on the troubleshooting part. The first thing, guys, like if you see the pre-requirement, make sure these ports are same speed and same configuration. Okay. So obviously, guys, like let's say if you have one port as a 1 GB and the other port is 10 GB, you cannot configure those ports in a bundle. Okay, or in an ether channel. So let me do the configuration on the core 1, then we will do the configuration on a core 2, then we will see the verification command and the troubleshooting. Okay. The first thing, like on a core 1, let's say the way we do the configuration. So we will use the like the range command. So interface range, and these are my port, okay, which is 0 via 1 and gigabit 1 via 0. And the only command like we require to configure the ether channel, which is channel group. Then you can use the number. Again, this number depend on your operating system. Some earlier guy, like we see 1 to 16. Some of the version I have seen 1 to 128. Now this version supporting 1 to 255. Okay. So this is channel group number 1. And then you need to define the mode and the question mark. So if you're using the mode on, that means you are using static ether channel. And if you're using the mode auto or desirable, that means you are using PAGP. And if you're using the mode either active or passive, then you're using LACP. So in this case, like we are using LACP, and the active, let's say like if one side you configure the active, this box initiating the LACP packet, okay, and the passive, they will reply. However, guys, you cannot configure the mode. Let's say if you're using LACP, passive both side, okay. If you configure the passive both side, that means your LACP packet will not be initiated, okay. तो उस केस में guys आपका क्या ether channel क्या form नहीं होगा. So make sure guys either use active passive or both side active. Okay? But you will not never use guys like passive or the both side, okay. So in this case में guys, let's say I'm using this side active or this side passive. Once we done the configuration, okay, let's say active one side, and that's it, okay. This is a single command we require. I believe like some of like you will see channel group 1 protocol. You don't need to define this command, okay, because this is the optional command. Channel group 1, sorry, channel group. Okay, this is not supporting. Like some of the guys, like earlier I have seen channel group 1 protocol, LACP, you don't need to define. As long as you define this mode active, that means you are running LACP, okay. So this is a single command we require to configure the ether channel. And if you see guys, like now, we have configured the ether channel only one side on a core one, okay. So the way we can verify, like show ether channel summary. And as of now, guys, if you see the output of this command, so this is my port channel 1, and this is showing like S. So this S means like we are using layer 2 ether channel, okay. And the D is showing means down. If you go above, like, so this D means guys like this is down, okay. Yeah, if you see D down. So instead of D, guys, like we need to see here U. U means up, or U means in use. And right now, guys, like this port is showing, these physical ports showing S, which are suspended, okay. So this guys, like what happened, okay, let's say if you're doing the configuration one side, and we are sending the LACP packet to my neighbor, and neighbor, you don't have any LACP configuration, okay. That means we are not receiving the any LACP packet back. What this switch will do, okay, this will basically make this port in a suspend state, okay. So make sure, guys, like I have seen, let's say one side you are doing the configuration, and the other side, maybe let's say this is your server team doing the configuration, and you are not doing this activity at the same time. So one side, if you configure on a switch side, and the server team, they haven't enabled the LACP, so you will see your port channel is in down state. And simply, guys, like you can verify this, okay, like show LACP, then use the question mark. This is my port channel 1, okay, and you can see the detail. Let's say the counter. You will see like this is command, guys, like I have seen very useful when we're doing the troubleshooting of ether channel, especially dynamic. So in case guys, अगर आप PAGP use कर रहे हो, the command is show PAGP. You can see, guys, like we see this is known as, guys, like LACP PDU, which is LACP hello packet. We are sending the hello packet, but we are not receiving the hello packet, okay. So as per this command, clearly you can tell the other team, let's say if you're doing the configuration on a switch, the other side, maybe this is your client switch, maybe your server, you can clearly tell them like you haven't enabled the LACP. Okay? You haven't enabled the LACP, और इस केस में guys आपकी जो connectivity होगी वो क्या होगी, जीरो होगी. The reason, guys, like if you see the now the physical status, okay, you see like, okay, what I'm trying to reach, okay, guys, like first thing, let's say this is my switch, this is my server. Before LACP or before EtherChannel, this server in a network, okay, this server still using one of physical link, okay, and this is your company network, still we are reaching to the network. But once you configure the EtherChannel on a switch side, and as there is no LACP configuration on the server side, this server will be lose the connectivity. The reason, like once you configure this port in LACP, and as we are not receiving the hello packet, we will put this port in a suspend state. So physically, guys, this port will be in a down state. So let me show you guys the physical status of this port. Okay, if you see the command, guys, like another troubleshooting command I'm using on a switch, which is show interface status. So definitely, like we have a one troubleshooting class on a switching, okay, which is after the switching course, okay. So show interface status. If you see, guys, like this port is showing suspend, and this means basically this port are now down. So before LACP, you see like we have the connectivity, but once we done the configuration on a one side, now we have a zero connectivity. And the reason, guys, like because the other side they haven't enabled the LACP. So इस case में, guys, like there is one command. Let's say अगर आप चाहते हो मतलब अभी सर्वर टीम आज एक्टिविटी नहीं कर रही, maybe they are performing the activity next week. So उस केस में, guys, like there is one command. Still आपने अपनी साइड पे क्या configuration कर रखी है, you have done the configuration at your side, but आप चाहते हो still like make sure this device should have a connectivity. So उस केस में, guys, like I'm not sure like this platform support the command or not, which is no LACP suspend command, guys. So what this command do, okay? So no LACP suspend, basically even though the remote device, they haven't configured the LACP, still your both physical port become up. And at the end, guys, like your result hoga, this device still forward the traffic, even though they don't have a LACP configuration. So make sure, guys, like when you're doing this EtherChannel, okay, you are configuring the both side at the same time. So in this case, guys, let's say I'm doing the configuration on a core 2, and once we done the configuration, make sure your port channel is up. Okay. So like let's say, guys, like on a core 2, interface range gigabit 0 via 0, and my another port is gigabit 1 via 0, channel group. This number, guys, like don't need to be matched, but just for the clarification, okay, I'm configuring the same number. So here, guys, you can use any number, but just for the clarification, guys, like I'm using the same number. Okay, so channel group 1 mode is passive. So once we done the configuration, guys, the remote core 1 also receiving the LACP packet. And at the end, guys, like we will see our port channel should be now up state, okay. And you see, like once we done the configuration, my physical port is also showing up, and my port channel is showing in up state. Okay. The first thing, like we need, if we now see the verification command, the first verification command, show IP interface brief, make sure my port channel in up state, and the second verification command, which is show EtherChannel summary. So if you see now the status of your EtherChannel, now we are seeing these ports are showing P, which means guys, like now these ports are in bundle, okay. And we are using LACP, and now S and U means in use. So earlier guys, like it is showing SD, which is down, okay. So if you see now guys, like P means the physical port in bundle. So now guys, like any configuration, okay, any configuration, let's say switch to switch, we want to configure a trunk port. So we will do the configuration under the logical port, okay. So whatever the configuration guys, like we will do under the logical port, that configuration replicate to my physical interface. So let me show you guys, like if you see show run interface port channel 1, so this is my ether channel 1, okay. And right now we don't have any configuration. And if we do the configuration, let's say port channel 1, switch port mode, switch port trunk encapsulation.1q, switch port mode trunk. So we have configured this port channel in a trunk mode. And let me do the configuration on the core 2 side also. So interface port channel 1, switch port trunk encapsulation.1q, switch port mode trunk. The switch guy, like we always use a trunk port. And if you see this configuration guy, like automatically replicate to my physical port, okay. So once you configure the ether channel, okay, my main point, you will apply the configuration under the port channel, okay. So show ether channel summary. So these are my physical port, okay. Like if you see the physical port configuration gigabit 0 by 0. So these command guy, like which I have configured, okay, under the port channel, they are automatically replicated to your physical port. Some people I have seen, okay, because like as I told you, in the ether channel, the pre-requirement is make sure all the port has the exact configuration. Okay? Except the description, guys, like in the real world, you can still define the different description, okay, because maybe this physical port going to different device and the port number. So this description can be different, okay, but all the configuration like switch port mode trunk, this should be a same, okay, on the both the physical port जो कि आपके bundle में है. And now guys, like if you see, let's say show IP interface brief on a core 1, if you see show IP interface brief, let's configure any IP address. So this has VLAN 1, VLAN has this IP address. On a core 2, show IP interface brief, we don't have any SVA interface, okay. Let me create one of SVA interface. Interface VLAN 1, IP address 192.168.1.254.255.255.255 and no shutdown. You see guys, basically what I'm doing here, okay. So this switch has IP address on VLAN 1, which is 1.253. And this switch has IP address 1.254. And as like when we communicate from core 1 to core 2, the traffic will definitely go via this way, because you see, like once you configure a port channel, the STP, see this port has a higher bandwidth capacity. So in STP guy, like definitely this port has a lower cost. So this will become a root port, okay. So when we ping the traffic from core 1 to core 2, traffic will go via port channel. So in the MAC address table, guys, in the MAC address table, if you see now, let's say we are ping our core 1, okay, which is 192.168.1.253. If you see, we have a connectivity. And if we see, let's say how this traffic is going, okay, like if we want to reach the core 1, which physical interface I'm using. So this is the MAC address of the core 1, show MAC address. And you can see guys now in the MAC address table, we will not see our physical interface, okay? We'll always see our port channel. So the question is very like here, that's not a matter, okay? Like when we're configuring the port channel, let's say we have these two links in a bundle, and we have a point A to point B, they are communicating, okay? In the MAC address table, you will always see the logical port, okay? But the point is, guys, like, how can we know, like, as we have a port channel configure, are we distributing the traffic on a both physical link or not? That's the main thing, okay? So as now, guys, like maybe one link is fully utilized, let's say 80%, and this link is idle. So फायदा क्या हुआ? Like, what is the advantage to configure the Ether channel, right? If only one physical link port carrying the traffic, and my other physical link port is idle in Ether channel, then what is the purpose to configure the Ether channel? Okay, so yeah, definitely, guys, like we'll see that this thing today, Ether channel load sharing algorithm. But how we can check, guys, like अगर हम आपके दोनों पोर्ट क्या बंडल में है, how can we check दोनों पोर्ट आपके ट्रैफिक कैरी कर रहे हैं कि नहीं कर रहे? And the simple way, guys, like we can check, like show interface gigabit 0. This is my physical interface, okay? Pipe include rate. So this command basically show you like what is the actual utilization of this link. Here you can see like even if you want to check the live utilization, let's say on a router also, let's say on a router, this link is going to the ISP, and your ISP has provided you 10 Mbps connection, and all my LAN user, they are reporting my internet is slow. The first thing, like you always check your ISP link utilization. You simply go to this router and run this command, show interface gigabit 0 Let's say I'm assuming this link is going towards to the ISP, include rate, okay? So this command show you from last 5 minutes, the input utilization of this link is 0, and the output utilization of is 2 KB. Okay, so if you want to see the utilization of any in the real world, live utilization I'm talking about. However, guys, like if you want to see the historical utilization, then in that case, you require your networking monitoring tool, okay? Like SolarWind or PRTG or MRTG. So if anyone are asking, hey, I want to know our internet link utilization of last 1 month or maybe 1 week, on those cases, guys, like we require this networking monitoring tool, okay? But this is the way, okay, guys, like once you configure a port channel, okay, make sure both link carrying the traffic, okay? So it definitely, it will not distributing the traffic 50%, but even if you see like one physical link carrying 70% and the other link carrying 30%, that's okay. The only like main thing, make sure they are carrying the sum traffic, okay, both the link. Any question, guys, like so far? So we'll continue the class, guys. Any questions so far regarding the Ether channel? If there's any question, you can. I unmute you guys. You can ask the question.
Yeah, Kulpit. Actually, I have faced some issues means in configuration. Suppose the server team is not doing the configuration at the same time. So what we have done, we have configured it, and later what they complain that they are not means what I have checked.
Yeah.
Both,
in this case, like in this case, let's say server is not obviously like Ether channel not will come up because the reason because they haven't do the configuration at their side. Okay, so in order to like make the Ether channel up, make sure you have done the configuration both sides. But the point is, like before the Ether channel, they have a connectivity. Okay, like earlier, as I told you, let's say this is your switch, this is your server. Earlier, this server using one of physical interface, okay, and they have a connectivity. This server is up and running. But once you configure the port channel on a switch side, and on the server side, they don't have any configuration, the server will lose the connectivity. Okay. और इस केस में गाइस अगर आपको still आपको सर्वर को कनेक्टिविटी प्रोवाइड करनी है, even though server hasn't the LACP configuration, there is one command, as I told you, which is no LACP suspender.
Yes, suspend. Yes.
Right.
Right on that.
Right.
Okay.
You need to configure this command, right? Okay.
Means my problem is that after they have configured the LACP there, one port became up and one port is showing down. So how to trouble? Actually, that problem was solved by our seniors, but I don't know how they have solved that.
Yeah. So again, like you will follow the same command, which is like show LACP one is the neighbor counter. So make sure like the other port also receiving the hello packet. Okay. So now this is like, if you see by default, guy, like LACP has two timer. One is short timer and one is high timer, okay, which is by default 30 seconds. Okay. 30 seconds and either 1 second. So 1 second is basically the short timer, but every 30 seconds we are sending the hello packet and receiving the hello packet. Okay. And if you see this command again and again, you will see this counter is increasing. Okay. So we are sending the packet as well as receiving the packet. So make sure, guys, like whatever the port in the bundle, you are sending the LACP PDU, which is LACP hello packet. Okay. And the other command, guys, like if you see, make sure which is show LACP one neighbor. Make sure, guys, like both my port going to the same device. Okay. If you see, like this is my port and this is that device ID, which is my neighbor ID. So this is basically the ID. This I'm running this command on a core one, and on the core one I'm seeing like gigabit 0 by 1 and gigabit 1 by 0. They are going to this device, okay, which is core 2. One issue I remember, guys, like I have faced in while I'm configuring the Ether channel, the Ether channel is not coming up because they have connected the physical cable to the wrong device. And so I remember the issue was, guys, like let's say this is my switch, okay, and so on the server side, accidentally, guys, they connect the physical cable to server 1 and the second cable they connect to my other server. Okay. But in the email, as we are working remotely, they're telling us, oh, both the physical port going to the same server. Okay. So we done the configuration at our side. They have done the configuration at their side. Still my port channel is not coming up. And once I see this command, okay, show LACP one neighbor, by this port showing different device ID and the second port showing different device ID. And based on this output, okay, I clearly tell them, hey, there is something wrong with the physical connectivity. Make sure both the link going to the same server. As I'm getting the different device ID, that means they are not connecting to the same device. Once the guy like they check physically, they figure out our data center guy, they basically connect the cable to the accidentally to a different server. That's why our port channel is not coming up. Okay. So these two command, guy, like very useful when we doing the LACP troubleshooting, especially like the hello packet, and make sure both ports are going to the same device. Okay.
And any MTU size mismatch have any impact in LACP?
Depend, like as I told you, it's not about only MTU. It all about the whole configuration. Make sure all the port which you are planning to configure in a bundle, make sure these port has the exact configuration. Like if you say, let's say one side in this port you have configured the different MTU and this port has a different MTU. I haven't tested this, but if you see like I have seen like someone in my company, they apply the ACL on this interface, but they haven't applied the ACL on the second interface. And once they apply the ACL on the one interface and the second interface, they don't have any ACL, our port channel bent down. Okay. So that's why, guys, this is a pre-requirement. Make sure all the port which you're configuring in a bundle, they should have the exact configuration.
Okay, got it.
Any other question, guys?
Yes, bhai. By if the LACP configuration is not configured properly, or we are not getting the counters increasing, so how we can check? I think I missed that command. So,
yeah, this is the command, show LACP counter. So this command, like on Cisco enterprise switches, okay, this is the command. On Nexus, the command is this one. This is the command.
So if okay, receiving side, we can check.
Yeah, send and receive counter.
Okay. If the counter is receiving, then it's okay.
Hello. Right.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Gurbit sir.
Yes,
Is there any advantage for if we make if we make core 1 and core 2 is active?
Yeah, active. Yeah, we will see the later on, like HSRP, VRRP, or VSS. उस केस में we will cover this topic, active or active standby.
No sir, in this LACP,
okay, LACP. There is no,
in this LACP there is a mode na sir, active
okay,
and passive.
You are talking
if we
about
make active in
there is no advantage. Okay, there at the end what we are basically focusing. Okay, make sure once we configure the ether channel, make sure it is up. Okay, so you can configure active. That's not a problem. In active, let's say if we done the in active, both can initiate the traffic. Okay, so there is no advantage to configure the active, and there is no disadvantage also. But the main point, once we done the configuration, make sure my port channel is up. Okay, that's the main thing. Okay, so
one second, sir. Sir, what kind of traffic they are initiating? That's their control plane traffic.
Yeah, obviously, like all this is a LAC packet going 1 switch 2 second switch. Okay, the switch to switch communication. This is always known as control traffic.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hello. So if you see, guys, like my video, what is the difference between control traffic and data plan traffic? End-to-end the communication hoti hai, this is known as data plan traffic. The box-to-box communication hoti hai, they always through the control plan. Okay. Yeah. Other question, guys.
Hello, sir. आपने ये सर्वर साइड अपने मुझे बोला ना, एक सर्वर साइड मुझे समझ में नहीं आया क्योंकि ये ईथर चैनल दोनों तरफ स्विच ही चाहिए ना, तो समझ नहीं सर्वर साइड का पोर्ट।
No भाई, ऐसा नहीं है, दोनों तरफ स्विच चाहिए। आप ईथर चैनल स्विचेस के बीच में कॉन्फ़िगर कर सकते हो, आप राउटर के बीच में भी कर सकते हो, आप फायरवॉल के बीच में भी कॉन्फ़िगर कर सकते हो, कहीं भी ईथर चैनल चलेगा। ऐसा नहीं स्विचेस ही सपोर्ट करते ईथर चैनल। Even you can configure, let's say you have a server 2 NIC card, तो मेरे को दोनों लिंक पे ट्रैफिक फॉरवर्ड करना है, तो only way we can do achieve this requirement by configuring ether channel.
I got one interview question actually regarding this LACP. Suppose if the server NIC cards have 1 Gbps, okay, and switch NIC card have 10 Gbps, say. So can we go for the LACP? It's possible.
Okay, it's not all LACP. Basically, can you go for a ether channel? Okay, yeah. Yes, this one, guys, like as I told you, even now I'm doing the same activity. Okay, I haven't do this, but even in my case, we have a new switches which has 100 Gbps.
Okay,
and the existing switch basically has only 10 Gbps. Okay, so again, like in my scenario, I also want to configure this port in ether channel. So I believe, like as I told you one command under the interface. If you use the speed command, speed command basically actually change the speed of the interface. Okay, so not the bandwidth command. Okay, so interface gigabit 0/1 speed. If I configure the speed 10 Mbps, the actual speed of this interface become 10 Mbps. So this command, guys, basically impact the actual speed of the interface. I'm doing the same activity. Okay, so far I haven't I checked on the internet yesterday. I haven't get my answer. Okay, but yeah, I'm performing this activity. I will let you know. Okay, like is this
thank you.
or not? Okay,
thank you.
Because I have the same question. Okay, because I believe it should be possible once we configure this command. Okay, V10.
Okay, thank you.
Hello.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, if trunk both side trunk should be enabled. It is mandatory.
No. It depends like what configuration you want. Like as normally like switch to switch, we always configure a trunk port so that we can send the multiple VLAN traffic. So it depends like you can configure access port, you can configure trunk port. But the point is like whatever the configuration you do under the port channel.
Okay. Sir, one more thing, like if any port is damaged or any card, if switch have any card issues, then how to rectify that that also?
You simply like in this case, like let's say you have a module connected to your switch, and this module card is completely down. So you see like maybe show interface status. You see like all the port. Let's say this module port starting from 1/0 and 1 up to 48. And you see like all my ports which are starting from 10, they are all are showing down. You simply ask like or go to your data center. You will check either remove this module and reinsert it. Okay, you can simply check, go to data center and see the physical status of this module, whether it is you have seen any light or not. Maybe you can remove it and reinsert it. Okay, and again still it is not helping, then you simply raise a ticket to your Cisco for RMA. You know RMA?
Yes, I know.
Yeah. Okay.
Like if I configure access also, the EtherChannel will communicate. Means
obviously
both side will communicate.
The configuration like access and trunk, इससे कुछ लेना देना नहीं है. Only thing like once we configure the port channel, it's up to you. We want to send the single VLAN traffic or we want to send the multiple VLAN traffic. If we want to send the multiple VLAN traffic, we will configure a switch port mode trunk. If we want to send the single VLAN traffic, we will configure switch port mode access. That's it.
Okay, sir. Got it. Thank you.
Any other question, guys?
Hello, Gurbit sir.
Yes.
Gurbit sir, ऐसे वन साइड में मतलब LACP और EtherChannel का कुछ सिनेरियो बताएंगे सर, क्योंकि हम लोग जब भी एक कनेक्शन लेते हैं, सपोज हम भारती से एक लिंक लिया है, तो वो लोग तो एक ही कनेक्शन देता है and it will be connected to our router.
So depend guys, like it's not like that. Like even your higher end router, this for the EtherChannel. So ISP के connection में guys, I remember if you let's say they can also provide you the another link. Okay, another link. So ISP की side पे क्या होता है, they normally deal with this QoS part. Okay, मतलब और अगर वो दोनों लिंक आपके राउटर पे आ रहे हैं तो यहाँ पे भी आप EtherChannel कॉन्फ़िगर कर सकते हो. बट अदर थिंग गाइस लाइक वी कैन आल्सो, बिकॉज एट दैट गाइस हमें क्या एक्टिव लोड शेयरिंग करनी है. एक्टिव का मींस क्या है, मेरे को दोनों लिंक से ट्रैफिक फॉरवर्ड करना है. सो दिस कैन बी पॉसिबल वाया LACP आल्सो. एंड later on guys, like when we cover the routing part, okay, let's say BGP or any other routing protocol, mainly guys like we are running BGP with the ISP. Through BGP we can also do this. Okay,